Careful, they're hot.
Delicious.
Glad you like them.
No one expected the first crisis of humanity's greatest diplomatic achievement to involve lunch. The Tri-Species Concordance Hall, a floating station anchored above Earth's moon, shimmered with soft blue light as representatives from 3 alien civilizations took their seats. The air hummed with translation fields, gravity stabilizers, and the collective nervous energy of 1,000 human diplomats watching history unfold. For the first time ever, humanity was not alone at the table. The Virexian delegation arrived first tall, angular beings with glassy, faceted skin that reflected the room like fractured mirrors. They moved with unsettling precision, folding themselves into chairs designed after weeks of anatomical guesswork. Next came the Krell envoys, dense and low to the ground, their bodies wrapped in layered chitin plates. Their clicking mandibles never stopped moving, quietly tasting the air. Finally, the Elindri ascendancy drifted in tall, robed figures whose faces remained hidden behind translucent veils of bioluminescent mist. They didn't walk so much as glide, feet never quite touching the floor. Humanity held its breath. This was it, the moment every sci-fi writer, dreamer, and conspiracy theorist had waited for. Peace talks, trade agreements, cultural exchange, and, as tradition demanded, a meal. Ambassador Helen Ramirez, lead diplomat for Earth, offered a practiced smile and gestured toward the long central table. Dishes from every corner of Earth had been prepared by the finest chefs on the planet. Fresh bread, rice dishes, steamed vegetables, exotic fruits, carefully measured proteins. Even lab-grown meats included just in case. "We are honored," Ramirez said, her voice steady, "to share nourishment as a symbol of trust and unity." The translators hummed softly. The response was immediate and disastrous. The Virexians stiffened. Their leader, Archfacet Takor, emitted a sharp crystalline chime. "We do not consume," the translator said flatly. The Krell recoiled from the table, mandibles snapping shut. "Organic matter at this stage is unacceptable." The Elindri delegation didn't even react, except for the faint dimming of the lights within their veils. A murmur rippled through the human observers. Ramirez blinked. My apologies." "Is there a dietary restriction we were not informed of?" Takor's facets shifted, refracting her image into a dozen fractured Ramirez's. "Your offerings are too complex, too unpredictable. Consumption would imply risk," the Krell ambassador added, voice clicking through the translator. "Your species cooks with chaos." That one hurt a little. Human staff quietly began removing dishes as tension crept into the room. Diplomatic meals were more than courtesy, they were ritual. Refusing food was refusing closeness, trust. Earth's first interstellar meeting was unraveling over appetizers. From the back of the hall, Lieutenant Mark Dawson watched with growing dread. He wasn't a diplomat. He wasn't even supposed to be here. He was logistics. Specifically, he was in charge of making sure the other rooms, the waiting areas, the human staff lounges were stocked and functional, including food. Dawson glanced down at the tray he was holding, forgotten in his hands. Golden, thin, perfectly salted. French fries. He had grabbed them on instinct while running between stations, a comfort food, a universal human truth. He muttered under his breath, "You've got to be kidding me." As the ambassadors reached an awkward standstill, Ramirez tried again. "Perhaps a different preparation method? Something simpler?" Takor's tone sharpened. "No consumption will occur." The concordance hall grew cold. That's when Dawson did something extremely stupid. He stepped forward. Security tensed immediately, but Ramirez raised a hand, confused. "Lieutenant?" she whispered sharply. "This is not—" Dawson swallowed, heart pounding. "Ma'am, permission to, offer an alternative?" Every alien eye or equivalent sensory organ turned toward him. Ramirez hesitated. History teetered on the edge of embarrassment. "Proceed," she said carefully. Dawson walked to the table, the sound of his boots far too loud in the silence. He placed the tray down gently right in the center. The smell spread instantly. Salt, oil, heat. The Krell froze. One of the Elindri figures tilted its head, bioluminescence flickering brighter. Core leaned forward, facets narrowing. "Identify this substance." Dawson cleared his throat. "Ah, fried potatoes." The translator hesitated. "Fried. Earth-tubers. Double quote silence. Then the Krell ambassador extended a thin sensory tendril, stopping a centimeter above the fries. "This is chemically stable." The Elindri glowed brighter. "Minimal complexity. Uniform structure." Tur reached out slowly, cautiously, and lifted a single fry between two crystalline appendages. The entire human delegation stopped breathing. "This," Tur said slowly, "was not on your cultural briefing." Dawson shrugged weakly. "We, eat them with everything." The alien ambassador brought the fry closer, paused, then consumed it. The sound it made something between a chime and a hum echoed through the hall. Core froze, then, "Prepare." "More." The Krell surged forward. "We request participation." The Elindri's light flared brilliantly. "This substance is acceptable." Ambassador Ramirez stared at the tray, then at Dawson. Humanity's first successful interstellar cultural exchange was a side of fries, and this was only the beginning. The moment the Virexian ambassador requested more, the Concordance Hall erupted into controlled chaos. Human aides sprinted for the kitchens. Security officers relaxed slightly, and Ambassador Helen Ramirez realized with equal parts awe and horror that humanity had just won its first interstellar breakthrough using fried potatoes. Dawson barely had time to breathe before a Krell envoy scuttled closer to the table, its mandibles twitching rapidly. "Clarify preparation process," the translator buzzed. "Is this substance engineered for diplomatic compliance?" Dawson blinked. "Nope, it's bar food." That statement rippled through the alien delegations like a shockwave. "You offer bar food to ambassadors?" "Elindri ascendancy," Ramirez coughed. "Lieutenant Dawson is improvising." Improvising was one word for it. Within minutes, new trays arrived, fresh fries, still steaming, lightly salted, identical in shape and color. The aliens watched the process closely as if expecting a hidden trick. The Krell extended multiple sensory filaments, scanning. Consistency confirmed. No aggressive microbial variants. One of them picked up a fry and bit down. The crunch echoed. The Krell froze. "Remarkable." A low rumbling sound followed a Krell expression of satisfaction. "This food does not fight back." Ramirez raised an eyebrow. "Most of ours does," she admitted. Across the table, the Elindri delegation glowed brighter with each passing second. Their veils pulsed in slow, rhythmic patterns as they absorbed not just the food, but the experience. "This nourishment triggers communal resonance," they said. "Your species has encoded comfort into matter." That one hit the human delegation harder than expected. Dawson felt his chest tighten. He hadn't thought about fries like that. To him, they were what you ate after a long day, after bad news, after good news, after surviving. Tkor, the Virexian arch-facet, had now consumed 3 fries. "Explain," Tkor demanded. "Why this simple structure produces satisfaction?" Dawson hesitated, then spoke honestly. "Because we're tired," he said. Ramirez shot him a look, but didn't stop him. "We live fast. We mess up a lot. We argue. We fight. But sometimes we just need something warm, salty, and easy to understand." Silence followed. Then the Krell spoke quietly. "Your species seeks stability in consumption." "Yeah," Dawson said softly. "And sometimes joy." The Elindri lights dimmed to a soft, reverent glow. "This is not mere nutrition. This is emotional engineering." The word engineering caused murmurs among the observing alien scientists. Tkor placed the remaining fries neatly in a symmetrical pattern. "Your culinary philosophy contradicts your technological profile," Ramirez leaned forward. "How so?" "You are capable of stellar fusion, quantum computation, and controlled singularities," Tkor said. "Yet you celebrate imperfection." Dawson smiled. "Especially imperfection." That's when the aide arrived with the question that would change everything. She leaned toward Ramirez and whispered, "Ma'am?" "They're asking if we have condiments." The room went very, very still. Ramirez closed her eyes for half a second, then opened them. "Yes," she said carefully. "Yes, we do." Dawson felt a chill. "Ma'am," he whispered, "with respect, are we ready for that?" The Krell ambassador tilted its head. "Define condiment," Dawson swallowed. "Sauces," he said. "Choices," the Alindri glowed brighter. "You introduce variability intentionally?" "Always," Ramirez said. A tray arrived. Ketchup, mayonnaise, mustard, 3 small bowls. Kor stared at them. "This is excessive freedom." The Krell dipped a sensory appendage into ketchup, paused, then reeled back violently. "This substance is sweet and acidic." "Yeah," Dawson said. "We argue about it a lot." The Alindri extended a filament into mayonnaise. Their light flared. "This is dangerous." Ramirez's heart skipped. "Dangerous how?" "It encouraged continued consumption." Kor observed the humans dipping fries without hesitation. "You trust individuals to choose?" "Every day," Ramirez replied. A long pause followed. Then the Virexian archfacet did something unprecedented. He dipped a fry into ketchup, bit down. The chime that followed rang louder than before. "This changes the experience." The Krell quickly followed suit. Soon, every delegation member was experimenting, mixing, dipping, comparing. The concordance hall filled with alien hums, clicks, and glows of satisfaction. Ramirez leaned back in her chair, stunned. Peace talks resumed casually, comfortably, between bites. Trade agreements were discussed. Cultural exchange proposals drafted. And at the center of it all, French fries. Dawson leaned against the wall, exhausted. He knew deep down that humanity had just revealed its most dangerous trait to the galaxy, not its weapons, not its technology, but its ability to turn survival into comfort and choice. The first warning came from a medical officer. The second came from a Krell choking. And the third came from the Alindri screaming in light. It began innocently enough. The concordance hall had shifted from formal diplomacy to something dangerously close to a picnic. Alien ambassadors reclined. Human aides laughed softly. Translation fields struggled to keep up with the sudden surge in casual conversation. Bowls of fries were everywhere. And then someone somewhere in the human kitchen made a mistake. They sent up the spicy tray. Lieutenant Mark Dawson saw it the moment the lid came off. Red powder, oily sheen. The faint, unmistakable smell of regret. "Ma'am," he said urgently, stepping toward Ambassador Ramirez. "Those are chili fries." Ramirez followed his gaze. "How spicy?" Dawson winced. "Regional. Too late." The Krell ambassador had already extended a sensory appendage, dipped it into the red coating, and tasted. The reaction was immediate. "Alert chemical aggression detected." The Krell recoiled violently, slamming into its own chair. Mandibles snapped open and shut at dangerous speed. Human medics rushed forward. Ramirez stood. "Stop. It's not a toxin." The translator hesitated, then corrected itself. "Correction. Substance induces extreme internal signaling." The Krell froze. "My nervous lattice is on fire," Dawson muttered. "Yeah, that tracks." Before anyone could intervene, one of the Alindri leaned forward, its glow pulsing with intense curiosity. "This reaction is not lethal." "No," Dawson said quickly. "But it's not for beginners either." The Alindri extended a filament, tasted the lights inside its veil, exploded into blinding white. "We experienced the sun." Security moved. Medical alarms sounded. The Alindri did not retreat. "And we desire more." The room went silent. Kor, the Virexian archfacet, observed calmly. "Humans, explain why you voluntarily ingest pain." Ramirez hesitated. Dawson answered. "Because it reminds us we're alive." That answer hit harder than expected. The Krell, still trembling, slowly straightened. "The sensation is destructive." "Yeah," Dawson said. "But it fades." The Krell paused. "And when it fades?" Dawson smiled faintly. "Then you kind of miss it." The Elindri's glow softened into deep, rolling waves. This is controlled suffering. Kor leaned forward. You weaponize discomfort recreationally. Ramirez folded her hands. We learned to coexist with it. The Virexian reached for a chili fry. Every human in the room inhaled sharply. Tor consumed it. The crystalline facets rippled violently, refracting light in chaotic patterns. Seconds passed. Then, fascinating, Dawson exhaled. My sensory lattice is overwhelmed, Kor continued. Yet, there is clarity. The Krell attempted another bite smaller this time. This pain has structure. The Elindri glowed a deep, reverent gold. Humans, they said softly. You do not merely survive harsh environments. You invite them inside. The phrase echoed. Observers scribbled notes. Alien analysts whispered urgently into recorders. Ramirez felt a chill. Humanity had just exposed something fundamental. Spice wasn't about flavor, it was about choice, control over suffering, turning discomfort into pleasure. Dawson watched as aliens cautiously experimented, adjusting spice levels, sharing reactions, comparing tolerances. Actual laughter rang out, translated imperfectly but unmistakably real. Kor turned to Ramirez. Your species is, alarming, she smiled. We get that a lot. The Virexian archfacet inclined its head. Any civilization that voluntarily consumes pain for enjoyment is capable of extraordinary resilience. The Elindri added, and terrifying adaptability, the Krell concluded. We should not provoke these humans, Ramirez didn't argue. As medics distributed milk and cooling agents, Dawson leaned back, staring at the ceiling. Humanity had not impressed the galaxy with its ships, or its weapons, or its science, but with fries, sauces, and spice. And somewhere, deep in the data logs of 3 alien empires, a new warning label was quietly added. Humans will eat the pain. Might enjoy it. The aliens should have stopped after the spice. Every human in the Concordance Hall knew it. There were rules, unwritten, deeply ingrained rules about what you did not share with first contact species. Weapons, politics, and dessert. Unfortunately, diplomacy had momentum. As medics finished stabilizing the Krell nervous lattice and the Elindri dimmed their glow to safe levels, a soft chime echoed through the hall. We request, said the Elindri Ascendancy, the final course. Ambassador Ramirez felt her soul leave her body. Dawson whispered, "Ma'am." No. To Kor's crystalline facets refracted curiosity. Your consumption sequence suggests a concluding ritual. Ramirez pinched the bridge of her nose. Yes, she admitted quietly. We call it dessert. The word translated poorly. Post-nutritional indulgence. Unnecessary pleasure intake. Reward consumption. The aliens leaned forward. You eat after you are full? Dawson nodded. That's the whole point. Silence. Then the Krell spoke, reverent. That is obscene. The kitchen doors opened anyway. There was no stopping it now. Plates floated in on anti-grav trays. Chocolate cake, warm and soft, layered with dark frosting. Cheesecake, smooth as engineered perfection. Fruit tarts, glistening like alien jewels. Ice cream, steaming gently in thermal bowls to prevent instant collapse. The smell alone rewrote the atmosphere. The Elindri glowed so brightly the lights dimmed automatically in response. This aroma triggers memory constructs. The Krell's mandibles trembled. This substance emits comfort. Kor stared at the chocolate cake. This is not efficient nutrition. No, Ramirez said softly. It's kindness, that did it. The first bite was taken by the Elindri. They dipped a filament into the chocolate frosting, touched it to their veil. The reaction was catastrophic. The Elindri burst into cascading waves of color gold, violet, deep blue rolling outward like solar flares. We are experiencing childhood. Every human froze. You have childhood? Dawson asked. Yes, the Elindri replied, their glow trembling. But we do not normally taste it. The Krell went next. Cheesecake one bite, then another, then... This is unacceptable. Ramirez stiffened. What's wrong? This texture bypasses defensive instincts. The Krell's mandibles sagged. I trust it completely. Dawson exhaled slowly. Yeah, that's cheesecake. Cora approached the chocolate cake with visible caution. Humans, confirm, this is safe. Ramirez met his gaze. As safe as love, she said. Cora consumed a forkful. The crystalline facets fractured into 1,000 warm reflections. For a long moment, the Virexian archfacet said nothing. Then, we will require a moment. The great crystalline being sat down. Observers whispered urgently. Sensors spiked. The Virexian had entered a meditative state. This food creates internal harmony, Tor said quietly. It dissolves sharpness. The room felt different now. Softer. The Elendri drifted closer together, sharing light patterns like laughter. The Krell stopped scanning for threats. Human scientists realized too late that dessert wasn't just pleasure. It was bonding. A junior analyst whispered, "Ma'am, interstellar emotional dependency metrics are climbing." Ramirez closed her eyes. Oh no. Tor turned back to the table. Humans. Yes? Ramirez asked carefully. Do you offer this, Freely, Dawson answered before she could stop him. When you're with family, the word translated slowly. Permanent trusted social unit. The Elendri glowed warmly. Then humanity has declared us family. Every human in the room felt it. That subtle, terrifying shift. Dessert had crossed a line no treaty ever could. The Krell spoke softly. Our people will demand this experience, the Elendri added. Entire star systems will feel its absence. Cora concluded. You have destabilized galactic emotional equilibrium. Dawson looked at the empty dessert trays. Yeah, he said. That happens. Far above Earth, in the quiet void of space, new diplomatic priority alerts began cascading across alien networks. Not about weapons, not about territory, but about a dangerous new human export, comfort. And humanity had just shared it. The official crisis alert was issued 12 hours after dessert. It wasn't labeled a war risk. It wasn't labeled a contagion. It was classified as human emotional influence, uncontained. Across 3 alien empires, data streams flooded in. Krell nutrient councils reported a sharp decline in traditional feeding rituals. Citizens demanded texture, choice, comfort. Elendri light choruses fragmented into smaller, intimate clusters, sharing memories, warmth, and something dangerously similar to joy. Virexian harmonic matrices destabilized as individuals began prioritizing internal balance over collective sharpness. All because of humans. All because of food. Back on Earth's lunar station, Ambassador Helen Ramirez stood before an emergency assembly of alien envoys and human officials. The Concordance Hall felt quieter, now softer, like a room after a long celebration or a long confession. Tor, archfacet of the Virexians, addressed the chamber. Humanity, he said, crystalline voice resonating gently, you are not conquerors. A pause. You are worse. Dawson stiffened. Ramirez raised an eyebrow. Go on. You infect civilizations with want. The word carried weight. The Krell ambassador clicked slowly. We consumed your food and learned desire. The Elendri glowed dimly, respectfully. You taught us longing without loss. Silence spread. Ramirez folded her hands. We didn't mean to hurt anyone. Tkor inclined his head. Intent is irrelevant. Effect is absolute. Human analysts waited for sanctions, for trade bans, for threats. Instead, we will continue relations, Tkor declared. Ramirez blinked. However, he continued, all human cultural exports will be classified as high-risk artifacts. Dawson muttered. Told you dessert was dangerous. The Krell raised a claw. We request formal regulation, the Elendri added. And scheduled exposure, Ramirez exhaled slowly. You're afraid of us. Kor's facets softened. No, he corrected. We are afraid of becoming like you. That landed hard. Because humanity understood that fear, Ramirez stood. Let me be clear, she said. We don't conquer with armies. We don't dominate with force. She gestured to the table still marked with crumbs, salt stains, and a faint smear of chocolate. We survive by sharing, by turning pain into spice, hunger into fries. Strangers into family, the Alindri pulsed warmly. That is precisely why you are dangerous. The galaxy had met warriors before, scientists, empires, but never a species that weaponized comfort. That could make suffering optional and joy contagious. The final agreement was signed that day. Humanity would not be isolated. Humanity would not be restrained. Instead, a warning was added to every first contact database. Humans may offer food. Refusal is permitted. Acceptance is irreversible. Lieutenant Dawson stood alone later, watching Earth rise beyond the station's window. A small paper tray rested in his hands. One last serving of fries. Ramirez joined him. Think we messed up? She asked. He shrugged. We fed them. She smiled softly. That's who we are. Far across the stars, alien ships began carrying something new in their cargo holds. Not weapons. Not technology. Recipes. And wherever humans traveled after that, doors opened. Because the galaxy had learned the truth. Humans weren't terrifying because they destroyed worlds. They were terrifying because they made them feel like home. And once you tasted that, you never wanted to go back.